Hello, it's Friday, March 23rd, 2018, and as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. I think I mentioned on a previous show that I wrote a book for NaNoWriMo 2016. My goodness, time flies. What's NaNoWriMo, I hear you ask? Well, it's National Novel Writing Month. It occurs every Thursday, every November, where it's a challenge for yourself. You enter and win, but you don't really win anything but respect and self-respect. But the challenge is to write a 50,000 word novel. I don't know if that's a novella or a novel. But yeah, so every Thursday, there I go again. Every November. That's interesting. Why do I think Novembers are Thursdays? Every November, you can challenge yourself, and you plan it out and you figure, okay, if I have 50,000 words, 30 days, that's like 1,667 words a day, take into account Thanksgiving, traveling, things like that, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, so I did that. And it's nearly done. I wrote it, I edited it, I re-edited it, I added, like 16,000 words to it. And currently it is off at my friend Dave's house. And he is going through it, editing it, giving me notes and ideas on, hey, this character really, they sounded like this earlier, but now they sound like this. Or, hey, I like this scene. Can you make this a little bit longer? Things like that. What's the book about, you say? Well, it's about my protagonist is Russ, and he, through a secretive turn of events, he does not feel pain of any kind, either physical or emotional or anything that you would consider pain, jealousy, heartache, broken bones, any of that. He doesn't feel the pain from them. He feels that if a bone is broken, he understands that it's broken. He can feel that it's not right, but he doesn't feel the agonizing pain of it. And what I was thinking was, what if your brain wasn't tied up with having to process all of that? What would happen? And I decided it would make you incredibly smart. And so that's what the book's about. It's I don't know if it's interesting. Hopefully it's a little interesting. But I am telling you guys about it now because I'm looking for some help. I would like to get a couple more sets of eyes on this book after Dave has gone through it. And I would also like to find myself I would also like to find a graphic designer of some sort who might be interested in helping me make a title, who might be interested in helping me make a book cover for this. I don't think anything very extravagant. I'm pretty simple. My book is pretty simple, but it is definitely above my level of abilities with I don't even know what you use anymore, Corel Draw or I don't even know, Adobe. Who knows? That's how much I don't know. So if you're interested and you would like to read a copy and you have a Kindle or ebook reader that I can send you a copy of it on, let me know. I don't want to get it out to too many folks. So if there is, a strong response, I'm going to pick, the first, say 2 or 3 folks that I hear from, and send the copies off to them and send regrets to the rest of you. I just want to get, I'm a little anxious about my writing ability, and I had, Nora's mom was my first editor going through it, and she did a fantastic job. And then I had Nora read it, and she just said, yeah, okay, it was okay. Dave is reading it, like I said, and he's giving it a deeper dive. But these are all people who know me, so I'd like to get some folks who maybe aren't as emotionally invested in me to give a look-see and give me some feedback on what they think. Because it's something I would like to get published, self-published most likely, and probably only on Amazon as an ebook. Maybe print a couple copies up, for myself and, one for my mom or something like that. So yeah, let me know, jamoalki@gmail.com, or all those other ways we'll talk about later on in the show. If you're interested in reading a copy of the book, and two, if you have some kind of expertise or even general knowledge about graphic design and would be interested in helping me make a book cover for this novel, that would be wonderful. Yeah, there's that, and let's get into it. So this past weekend, I traveled to Michigan to see my folks and see my two oldest, Al and Key. They stayed behind in Michigan, moving in with their boyfriends when my ex and my two youngest traveled to North Carolina to take up residence there. And it's a little sooner than I normally would go, but I didn't know how they were handling things being there kind of on their own. Yeah, they're with their boyfriends, and they're not experiencing life in an apartment by themselves for the first time. But I wanted to go see them, remind them that, hey, I still care for you, I still love you, I'm still here if you need me, and I want to come visit you guys. So I did. I planned just a short weekend. Took off Friday morning, got to my folks' house Friday evening, spent Saturday by my folks, and Sunday went up to see the girls, took them to dinner, and then started heading back. So pretty short trip. So one of the things that I experienced while I was there, and this is nothing new, this is pretty commonplace for me now, is how much of a really, really hard time I have being social with my parents in any way, shape, or form. We've talked about the avoidant personality disorder and how that affects me. And it's fair to say that my parents aren't any different in that I still get that, while they're talking. So let's say Dad's talking about the weather, or they're talking about when they went to go see their friend at the nursing home or something like that. Really just small talk kind of stuff. All the while they're talking, in my head, I'm just screaming to myself, oh my gosh, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? Oh my gosh, are you going to respond? Do you know what you're going to say? Hey, they're going to stop talking and you need to reply something. And it gets to the point where I just shut down. I kind of build up this pressure on myself that I need to not sound dumb. I need to not sound immature. I need to sound articulate, to the point where I become my kids in text messages, where I just kind of say yeah, or or ah, or oh boy, or something exactly what I don't want to sound like. I think I end up sounding like. And I started thinking, I kind of wondered for a little bit if I treated them a little bit differently, because my folks are old. I'm 45. You can do the math how old my folks are, and they weren't that young when they had me. So they're kind of set in their ways. They're kind of they've lived long lives. They're kind of, I don't want to say defeated, but they've channeled their thoughts and reasonings in a very specific way, and that's where they are now. They're kind of kids these days kind of folks. That being, kids these days, I don't know what they're thinking, this or that. Oh, my niece wrote a book of poetry, I guess we'll call it. And my mom got a copy of it and was just shocked that there were F-bombs in there. And I don't know why anybody would ever have to use that word. Things like that. Gosh, where was I going with this? So they're kind of set in their ways. They're not up to speed on maybe the intricacies of, things like global warming, or, a global economy, a global community, things like that. So there's a lot of times when I want to step in and correct them, but I don't. And up until earlier this afternoon, I thought that that was because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I didn't know how to explain it to them, and that's not it. I don't do it because in the instant I don't feel like I am knowledgeable enough to say anything without looking stupid and without having them judge me for not knowing what it is I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the same stuff that I talk about with, other people that I meet during the day or friends or whatnot, that it feels magnified with my folks, and there's probably something in there to that. I don't really have any memories of, needing to be perfect, needing to be the best at something, or needing to not be an embarrassment to my folks. I don't have any memories of that. In fact, quite the opposite. I think, it feels like in my head, it feels like in my head, right? It feels in your heart, thinks in your head. I get the feeling and the notion that it just wasn't that my brother and I, we were kind of allowed to be us. My brother had kind of some anger issues early on. I know around the house, but probably other places as well. But aside from that, he was able to be who he wanted to be. I was able to be who I wanted to be. Once you got past the younger years of mom dressing you and picking out your clothes all the time, things like that. But once I was picking out my own clothes and meeting my own friends and doing my own thing, there wasn't really any pressure to be a certain way. So on the surface, I don't know that there is something to that, although just looking at it, you think it would have to be. So yeah, I planned on being at my folks for 24, 36 hours. And how do you get through that when you just feel like your head's going to explode every time they're talking to you? Well, I read a lot. I did. I'd fallen behind in the books that I'm reading with my two youngest, Jay and Mo, and so I kind of kept my head down in that, and which was fine. Dad likes to read, and the TV is always on, and Mom complains that the TV is always on, but she watches it just the same. I went to bed early. I got there at 8:30 Eastern time. I think about then, maybe 9. And I just, I'm so exhausted from the trip. Let me just visit with you for a couple minutes, and then I need to go to bed. I stayed in bed late. I generally don't sleep that late, although that is changing. More recently, I've been able to sleep till 6:30 some days. But I found myself taking extra trazodone at night and sleep later, so I wouldn't have to spend so much time awake with them while I was being the good son and being with them. Sunday, I left early with an excuse that I was going to visit some friends from Home Depot where I used to work. And they bought that. And, it's like, yeah, you're here, you got the chance to see people, you got to see people, which I knew they would say. So I left early on Sunday, much earlier than I had to. Nothing to go do. There really isn't anybody left at Home Depot that I want to go see. They've moved on to other locations, or just aren't working there right now. So I spent the late morning and early afternoon kind of traveling the 70 miles or so to where Al and Key live, going from location to location, putting up flyers for the podcast. And this is where I want to give thanks to, but remind you that I'm not endorsed by, or they're not supporting the show, but Panera Bread, which is an American bread restaurant. They have sandwiches and soups and things like that, but primarily they make bread, and that's their thing. They have community boards in all their stores. Jimmy John's, which is it's like a Subway. I think probably everybody knows Subway, the submarine sandwich shop. They have community boards in all their stores. And Starbucks, most stores have some kind of community board. And that's how I spent my late morning and early afternoon, kind of going from Starbucks to Jimmy John's to Panera to Jimmy John's, putting up flyers until I had no more. And it was something I hadn't done in that part of Michigan before. So hopefully we reach some more people that way. And find some more lives that I can touch and join, be part of our community here. So I was going to go to dinner with Al and Key, like I said, 19 and 22 respectively. I was hoping to get their boyfriends to come with, but they both bowed out. One at the last moment, one earlier on. I hope that's not a reflection on me and more on them, but at the same time, I hope it's not a reflection on them. And it was just, something, something they couldn't get away from. I've talked about how I have, some of these symptoms of, AVPD with my younger girls and, my friends and stuff like that. And it's very present with my older two. I think, one, because they're older, two, because they're still not my girls, right? They still have a dad who they don't really speak to, but they have a dad. And it's very worrisome to me that I'm going to say something wrong to them. And it even goes into the point of not sounding cool about something or being out of the loop on something else, which is foolish, because if there's something I don't know and I just say, hey, what's that? They'll, oh, hey, let me tell you what this is, or let me show you this video or whatever. So it's just like the rest of it. It's kind of unfounded, but I at this point, I can't get past it. So something that I've noticed, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I found out that 5-hour energy drinks are a fabulous way for me to kind of stay more focused and more involved with other people when we're having a conversation. I don't know what it is about it. Don't tell Nora that I do this, because I think there's a bit of caffeine in there. I don't think it's a lot, but I think it's more, B vitamins and whatever the G thing is, their G ingredient. But it helps me engage a little bit more, and I have found that it keeps me from doing that kind of depersonalization, that kind of dissociation. So about an hour before I was to meet them, I got myself a 5-hour energy drink, chugged it, and hoped for the best. And ended up, we did have a good dinner together. We talked about different things. They talked about how things are going for them, their work, and, their plans or not plans to go to school some more this spring or summer, I guess it is. So yeah, overall, it was good. We spent about 2 hours together, and it was a good dinner. It was good. It was good hearing about what's going on with them. So, I guess I owe that to 5-hour energy drink. But we'll see. I guess we won't see. I guess we'll just assume. And obviously that's not a sustainable solution to my problems. So, yeah. So drop them back off at Al's house, and they went about their way, and I started heading back home. So, that was the weekend that was filled with what I think is the major part of what I'm dealing with right now, which is the personality disorder. I think I'm doing a little bit better as far as the depression end. At least I think I am. I may just be, because I'm so focused on the personality disorder, I may be misattributing things from one to the other. But yeah, I have an appointment with Alex this afternoon, so it's been a little bit since we had an appointment together, and I'm kind of looking forward to it, kind of not at the same time, but I'd like to get his opinion on that. So yeah, there's the weekend. So there's that, guys. Something that when I was planning out the show here, what I wanted to do was I really wanted to do a show about good things, about things that had a more positive vibe. I generally sit here and I talk about, this kind of woe is me, this is afflicting me, or this is bothering me, and I wanted to do something that was more positive, more uplifting, more upbeat. And what I found was it's really hard for me to come up with stories or events to explain as being good. I just went through and said I had a pretty decent 2 hours with my older girls. I wouldn't say that I thoroughly enjoyed the time, but it was a good event, right? So there's one that I came up with. Then go back from there is, 2 weeks ago when I went and saw my younger two. But, I don't know, I don't know. It just, So I think the problem is I either don't recognize things as good, or that fact that I diminish everything I do down to nothing makes it seem not positively worthwhile to discuss. Positively worthwhile? That doesn't make sense. A worthwhile, positive story to tell. I still want to do one. I think maybe I need Nora's help. Maybe that's something we can do a show together on that. But yeah, does this make sense? I want to do a show where it's not so clouded, so gray, and not gray as in, not yes or no, not black or white, but not as shrouded in the grayness and in the throes of mental illness. So yeah, keep your ears peeled. Keep your ears peeled for that. Hopefully that show will be coming out within the next month or so. We'll see if I can get some time with Nora to help me do that. I still want to do that show about love. Yeah. What else? Update on the diet. So it seems like months ago now that I started dieting again, and the consensus as of this morning is I've still lost 12 pounds. Although that's been kind of holding at 12 pounds for a few weeks now. And it's admittedly, it's been hard the past few weeks with the traveling I've done. I've said before that I'm a bored eater, I'm a nervous eater, and I'm a security blanket eater. And, when I'm traveling, I'm bored a lot driving. And it makes it really tough to not just have something in the seat next to me where I can just feed myself. In fact, because I knew I'd be driving all day long on Thursday night, I got a pizza and kept it out in the car where it stayed nice and cold all night. And that's all I ate. Well, I think that's all I ate. I don't remember stopping and getting something else, but I may have. In fact, I'm sure of it. But that was my plan, was that would be my food for the day. And, while that's not the best option for food for a day, it's not nearly as bad as stopping and getting a bag of combos and then getting, some snack cakes or cinnamon rolls or, 2 hamburgers from McDonald's and a large fry and, all of that together. So yeah, there's there's that. And I kind of feel like I'm going off the rails here now. So I'm going to ask you, have you guys subscribed to the show on iTunes? If not, why not? It's the best way to get a hold of the show when it first comes out. Also, while you're over there, if you could give me a 5-star rating, that would be awesome. As always, this is a way to get the show to turn up higher in searches for podcasts and things like depression and suicide and whatnot. And so just a way to get more eyeballs and earballs on the show. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can email me, jamoalki@gmail.com, facebook.com/jamoalki, @jamoalki on Twitter, www.jamoalki.info, that's JAMOALKI, or you can text me. I love my text communications at 248-648-1419. That is a text line only. There's no phone number associated, or phone number. There's no phone call attached to that. I only get messages through Google Voice on my phone, or web-based or whatnot. But you can't make a phone call. I can't make a phone call back. Well, I guess you could make a phone call and leave a voicemail. I do get voicemails every now and then from Michigan Blood from one time when I donated blood. So, yeah, you could leave a voicemail if you like, but I have no way to call you back on that number. So, yeah, guys, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is safe. I hope that you're getting excited for spring and summer coming. I know I'm a little bit A little bit cheerier with the not quite so cold days. It's only, in the 20s when I wake up in the morning as opposed to 0 or -2 or whatnot. So yeah, everybody, let me know how you're doing. Reach out. Let's have a conversation. Until next time, everybody, be safe and be well.